Good afternoon, everybody. And um, I guess happy October 1st. It is October 1st, and we are in another No Miss Opportunities weekly. Our consultant, JB, has already joined the meeting, and I sent an email marketing campaign out to invite people to the live meeting. So I'm trying to follow up with that while giving people at least the first few minutes to join. How are you today, JB?
Hot. How about you, Nick?
I am a little overwhelmed. I'm a little overwhelmed by the current pandemic situations, but we're working through that. So I get a lot of email responses immediately when I send the email blast out. So I'm trying to follow up with some of those to make sure if it's somebody that needs a direct access, I can give them access to the meeting. Okay. Okay. Let's see. US report. Campaigns. Okay, so that's cool. All right. So I got a couple people that are opening the email now. It's giving me the response as it's just went out. So I tried earlier. Uh, I tried to send the email out a little bit earlier this time to kind of give people a little bit of time to acclimate to the response. Um, this last week, I've really kind of focused on email marketing for some of the events, so that way I could reach a larger audience for these events. Um, we've discussed some of the things prior to this meeting in regards to the direction that we're going in. I wanted to be able to um, address a few things this week in regards to um, today's society doesn't allow us to. Today's society doesn't allow us with the Zoom meetings and the things that are going on in our society to have a very even playing to present a lot of these ideas. The necessity to be able to be agile in this environment is extremely important. I can't point blank have a very basic time frame or place that I would be doing the Zoom meetings, and I don't think that that's going to change in the near future. I think that that's going to be a normality for us. Um, Part of the point of no missed opportunities is that we're not using the outside things that are affecting our current lifestyle as an excuse to be able to progress forward. Um, Remaining focused on whatever it is that you're contributing to the nonprofit is going to be most valuable, regardless of what the outside distractions are. There will be outside distractions. The distractions will be more prevalent than not. Am I using that word correctly? Prevalent, JB?
Sounds like prevalent to me.
Oh, okay. Right. So, um, currently, our virtual classes, our virtual class instructor is currently with students right now, which is really cool because that was one of the marketing things that we were doing. So I don't know if we had direct response in his being consulted for his virtual classes or in-person classes, but he is busy today with students, which is a good thing. So I, I I'm very happy about that. Scott reached out to me this morning and let me know that he would be busy and that we're going to meet in the future to kind of discuss what the meeting is about. One of the benefits of the meeting is that Scott can watch the meeting at a later time. That's why we record it and upload it. So that way, if you're unavailable to watch the meetings, um, this email marketing blast that went out as of 12 o'clock, it has the prior meetings in the video or in the email blast. So that way people that are curious about what the meetings will be about can watch the video. They don't necessarily have to attend the live video. Um, so also over this last, um, I want to say 2 weeks, we've had a lot of progress with our projects. We are currently doing development or construction at what will be considered our headquarters in our virtual classes site. We've had 10 computers donated. Um, we've had some contributions to our donations, which you can go to nomissedopportunities.com to donate, as well as if you're interested in any of the projects that we have, the email that you would want to contact is going to be NMOinfo@gmail.com. Um, we've made a couple of adjustments concerning our technical advancements with our contact in India from last week's demo with Piranha Development. That has been promising and has afforded us the luxury of what would be considered hot leads that are coming in for that, which is a revenue stream. Um, this last week has been extremely informative when it comes to a lot of the technology advancements based off of the pandemic. Uh, Currently, one of our projects and our fashion designer, EJ, which has been one of our attendees. He's currently tending to assisting his mother right now, so he's going to be in our meeting a little bit later. Um, but we have reached out to the Magic Trade Show, which is now a virtual trade show. Okay, virtual trade shows are relatively new. There's also a couple of other industries. The flooring industry is going to be offering a few new virtual trade shows. Um, some of our affiliate companies are making adjustments, whereas this year they are not attending the trade show because of the pandemic. This is a this is going to be a new trend um, that I'm pretty sure is going to be a lasting trend for safety reasons, health reasons, that we're trying to make adjustments to within our corporation and organization. So that way we are prepared for these new trends, along with the fashion industry. These trends are being formulated as we go. So there are whole industries that are making changes and adjustments that we need to be prepared for. Um, these meetings are the platform so that way you can be informed.
I think it's a good platform to be informed as well as to share the experiences other people are undergoing, because we're all kind of going through a big life pivot right now on a societal level, on a business level, on a personal level, and within families as well, who have to adapt to loss of income, people being sick, whether they're being caregivers for anybody in their family or their children. So we've all been thrown into this giant vortex of shock um, and adaptation. And I think one of the benefits of these meetings will be people sharing their experiences with it, their circumstances, and contributing to a holistic conversation of how can we move forward from this? How can we take advantage of this pause in time, as well as a pause in economic circumstances, earning power, having food on the table, having shelter, and all of the combination of life ingredients, if you will, that have been basically smashed against the wall. And we're all picking up pieces where we can to try and survive, move forward, and build back.
Um, I agree with you to a degree. I think that um, I believe that there's a lot of unknown. I believe that there's a level of uncertainty. But then in the reality of it, there are things that I've noticed that we are definitely certain of. One of the things that uh, I can make a prediction on is there's going to be a food shortage. Okay, so I'm a little less inclined to be advantageous about our government making positive changes. We recently watched a debate. The debate has been something that was mocked in real life issues. So I'm not inclined to believe that the government is going to step in and make these changes that are going to be beneficial to individuals. The changes that they have made are out of necessity. There's a lot of bickering back and forth, both parties. Um, there's a lot of um, there's a lot of current violence. There's a lot of um, disagreements to what the best method and or solutions are going to be. So I'm not having an expectation that people that are outside of our immediate circle that are potentially watching this video that have taken the time to to research what it is that No Missed Opportunities is doing. But when it comes to things like the food shortage, that may lead into a gasoline shortage, that may lead into a lot of different society issues that, whether you're prepared or not, there will be results. I'm not um, I'm not looking to sugarcoat these issues when the leaders of our nations are uncertain about them. This is a world pandemic. Um, the information that we're sharing in these videos can be disabled at any point in time. It's been pointed out to me that um, as of recent past, the Zoom contingency plan within No Missed Opportunities for if the Zoom platform goes down doesn't exist. So, as you and I are in this meeting, these are the people that are going to know how to respond to it. So, if you're watching this video and you have a solution and you're not sharing it, you will have that solution and you would have wished you shared it. You would have wished you contacted someone. And these times are now. So I listed the email marketing as here and now because I'm not concerned about next week's meeting as so much as what we would benefit from this week's meeting. The changes that have been made within this organization have been fruitful. So I'm not looking to change my strategy and adjust it towards people that are not prepared for what we are moving forward doing. One of the things that um, currently has been an opportunity that No Missed Opportunities has been pursuing is grants. Uh, One of the grants that I was applying for was Nordstrom's. The paperwork for the grant application is due tonight at 12. So, as far as I'm concerned, I have 12 hours to put that information in, whether it's complete or not. Either we're going to be making these changes as we need to make them and meet these deadlines, or we're going to be in a situation where we're hoping someone is helping us. So I'm not looking for putting myself in a position where I'm expecting help or being in a masses of group of people complaining, upset, and frustrated from lack of help because they didn't put themselves in a position to help themselves. And that's what this technology has allowed myself, JB, who's attending it, and anyone else that who's watching this to put themselves in a position to help. The information is on the websites. Another thing that people are also assuming that I foresee is potentially having the technology overall go down. It seems unrealistic that larger corporations like Facebook would go offline, and there are detrimental results to if and when they go offline. So I'm trying to make sure that the contingency plans are put in place so that way when they go offline, there are things that our organization is able to do and still function. There are essentially meeting places so that way we can organize and make adjustments, because the people that are not prepared for that are going to literally be in instant chaos. Most people are not apt to find directions without their phone. So, if you're unable to have directions, there's a whole generation of people that are basing their existence on the survival of technology. So if you're not using the technology to the most current advancement, if the technology is unavailable to you, you will not be able to survive. I'm not trying to make things easier for people that are not contributing prior to getting to those points. Hopefully we never get to those points, but if and when we do, I look forward to everybody that's watching these meetings that have contributed to this organization being able to survive those times. So I'm not I'm not addressing these meetings as a hobby or a game or something entertaining. So I have a lot of entertaining content that's currently online. And at this point, that has been shifted as to a non-priority because of the current pandemic situation. These pandemic situations, one of the things that I reluctantly had to think about and address in this meeting is that people will die. People are dying. There are people that are going to die. There are going to be people that are not going to survive this time in history. So to attempt to take that lightly or address it from a standpoint that that may be unrealistic, it's not. It's being reported on a daily basis. There's a current domino effect of things that are happening in industries, whereas it be the fashion industry, the flooring industry, or two industries that I'm associated with that I can already see the results. The technology industry is currently advancing at a rapid daily pace. All of my content is at a high after 10 years. So, trying to stay up to date with that, I'm looking at things like the National Basketball Association. People are still tuning into these things because they are fundamental institutions within our society, but yet they are not presenting that are interested in making the adjustments. And these
Lost your
adjustments,
audio for about 15 seconds.
okay. So um, I'm not sure if my audio is, if it record, no, it probably doesn't. Okay. So it's recalibrating that. Okay. So some of the things that I was just expressing before I lost my internet connection, and hopefully I don't lose the interconnect connection, indefinitely. But that was what I was addressing, the fact that these meetings and opportunities are limited, and there needs to be an urgency while having and conducting these, while sharing this information, while networking, which is the platform what this is for. Um, it's also developing new technology so that way it can spawn a safer, more efficient way to live. The current times are putting us in a position where there are going to be people that are contributing something positive, and then there's going to be the people that are taking advantage of what's positive. So, at this point, we're in a position to and or obligation with no missed opportunities as a nonprofit entity to provide some of these efficiencies. So that's the platform that I've expressed and allowed for it to be somewhat of an open forum and contributors to be able to meet on a weekly basis. However, I believe that there's a demographical detach is what I would like to refer to it as, because there are young people that don't understand the value of it, and then there's older people that are currently accepting uh, the fruits of what their labor was. You know, uh, the different things that are going on in our society are not they're long existing institutions. These institutions have been around. So for people to act uh, as if they were not a part of these institutions, if they had not implemented these institutions, like these results are not something that were designed. I have no um, I really don't have compassion for that. I don't have compassion for people that are creating the problems and not contributing to the solutions. So I'm limiting uh, who is essentially going to be involved with what we're doing to the people that are looking to not miss an opportunity to make our community better. These are existing problems that have been existing. They're not new problems. There are people that are trying to they're trying to bypass the hard part to the solutions. And that leads all the way to the top of our government. Um, the concept of democracy is that we're able to have a majority vote to make these decisions. In reality, that's not how the democracy is set up. So we can go back and forth about what would be considered politics, or we can talk about solutions. That's why I do these videos. They're designed for people to take and watch at their own time, on their own pace, because everyone is dealing with this is a current situation. So no missed opportunities is just trying to provide a platform for people to be able to contribute. But I do not believe that our society in a whole is going to contribute to a solution. They're going to hope that someone else does. So, no, you're good, OG. It's one of my off-camera mentors gives me a lot of insight on history that I wasn't old enough to understand. So stuff you are not taught in school. That's for sure.
All right. Well, we're half an hour into this meeting. What's it about?
This meeting is about it being October 1st. The so-called holidays are coming into play because of some of my technology insight. Two things that I've noticed. Um, Apple, the company Apple is making adjustments for the holidays to be online. The company Amazon is making adjustments to add more drivers to their delivery fleet. I believe currently that there's going to be I'm trying to think of what the word would be. There's going to be some major adjustments in our country, and I'm trying to minimize the casualties that's going to actually affect directly our corporation and our organization. And the adjustments that we are going to be making are going to limit the people that are going to be a part of these adjustments. Um, if you're a part of this, if you're watching this video and you're not contributing a solution, you will not be moving forward with our corporation or organization. If you're not creating something positive for our organization, you're not going to be associated with our organization, and um, they're going to be fatal results within the next few months. And if that's not of importance to you, it's definitely not going to be of importance to us. I'm not going to sugarcoat the idea that, again, like I've said earlier in the meeting, people are going to die. There's a reality to that. If you're not making the adjustments and you're putting yourself in a position to not be able to survive a world pandemic, then I will have a limited amount of time and/or resources that will be available to anyone that's not contributing. Um, Again, our organization is going to be making those adjustments. So I'm positive that other larger organizations are going to be making those adjustments. There are going to be a couple of industries that are not going to exist after this. We are trying to create opportunities within the new technologies and existence of new industries that are uh, at this point becoming a foot race. If you're not, there's gonna be drones. If you're not urgent about what these meetings are about, or urgently a part of what we're contributing or what we're trying to build, then you need to make the adjustments within yourself, because I'm not going to tolerate it as the founder of an organization for what is now becoming a basic survival on a human level. If you're unable
Well, I
to,
think before you issue any expectations of anybody else, regardless of whether they're within or without the organization, you have to lay down a clear mission, a clear direction and agenda for what these changes are, what the services are, what the contributions needed are, et cetera, so that people have some kind of idea or orientation towards what your expectations are within it, why, and what the perceived results are going to be, or benefits back to the community. So clarification is needed, and it takes us back to what I said at the beginning. We're in a time of a giant pivot, many pivots happening with different industries, as you're pointing out. I don't think things are going to be quite as dire, because there will be safeguards put into motion, whether it's at the political level. You have to remember the office of the president has the power to issue executive orders. So if there's anything that's going to be potentially catastrophic, that is likely going to be dealt with. Otherwise, you're just going to have more mass chaos. We're seeing that unfolding in a number of cities because of, and that gets into a wider dialogue of what's been, how could I put it? Well, what's been agitated, but what's been overrun by other interest groups who are not focused towards what the original action was aimed at, which was the police murder, essentially, of George Floyd. And then the whole process, the whole effort, the whole movement became contaminated by outside agendas, outside politics, and soiled the purity of what the response to that whole event was, because that captured the world. That captured the attention of the world, regardless of their racial or ethnic background. It was just a supreme injustice, regardless of race, but it is a microcosm of the larger problem of police responses to people in the Black community. So that veers off into other dialogues and other, how could I put it? We're at a time of social self evaluation on many levels.
well,
However,
you're
you've got
you're
an administration in place that has created a tremendous divide between political ideologies, racial ideologies, if you want to put it that way, and has contributed to the violent responses we're seeing, where people have learned from the top that the only thing you need in life is to be louder, stronger, and more persistent than anybody else to override the rights, civil or otherwise, of other people.
To address some of those things, um, currently being in a demographic that would be considered black, or and having been in a demographic that, as of recent, since I've started these meetings, that was in a demographic that would be considered white, and being of a mixed ethnic background myself, there are a few things that I would address towards that. One is that regardless of what your ethnic background is, the law enforcement of our country is not, they're not properly trained to have a solution for that, as well as our current leadership, again, is not interested in anything other than their personal survival. And at this point, the personal survival is the top priority of everyone. So, with that being the case, and addressing, as you said, trying to be a voice, and um, trying to be a voice of volume is not necessarily my concern for our organization. The design of our organization and every other organization that I have created is for the survival of the people that are a part of our organization. The nonprofit is designed to not make me as the founder a a profiting member. It's designed to equally share in the responsibilities. So, in what is currently a world pandemic, if you are not contributing to what our organization is doing, I will not be focusing on the overall well being of society until society as a whole has a better outlook. We cannot make these decisions based off of past experiences, because this is a very new experience. The technology is new. The profiteering of everything currently in a capitalistic country is that of capitalists. So it's taking a serious look at who is currently trying to survive. And once you get to a level of survival, things become very chaotic. So it breaks down to the simplicity of, you know, food, water, and as we've seen, toilet paper. There are people in our society that are not going to contribute to our organization. So to try to focus on gaining contributors at this point in time uh, in this world's history, it's not going to be the smartest strategic plan. Uh, Having a strategic plan, like you've expressed, trying to outline that in a society that is currently basing their strategy on a day-to-day basis is ludicrous as far as I'm concerned, because I cannot use outside factors to determine how we're going to survive. So
Well, I think
if
you need that as a gauge. You need sensors throughout the community, and that's where the feedback from other people becoming a part of the meeting contributes that information, that data. Everything's evolving, everything's changing. So before you can make resolutions and decide what you're going to execute on, you need to get more of the data in terms of, all right, well, there are existing nonprofits out there. There are existing programs at the municipal, state, and federal levels that offer assistance to people. There are websites that are consolidating the information related to that. So if people do have internet access, they can go and to various sites, like for example, in Los Angeles, 211.la.org, where they'll get a combination of programs that are available. So it's a matter of, all right, well, where does No Missed Opportunities fit in the universe of that? And in terms of trying to plan and execute at the local community level first, as well as potentially putting some programs together that can go nationally or internationally, because online you can be as international as you want to be. It's a matter of doing, again, more due diligence, more research, finding where the greatest needs are to determine what your model is going to be in the ongoing refinement of the mission of the nonprofit, to decide, okay, well, based on the experience, the knowledge, and the priorities set by you as a founder and other people who contribute, where can we best make an impact? Where can we best help to bring some improvement to people's lives? So you need the data first, you need the feedback first. That's where these online meetings can be a contributor to that help to refine and shape and mold the model of what No Missed Opportunities is going to be about. And in terms of immediate survival, yes, the food justice in terms of having food and water, and then a roof over your head. And then everything else comes after that in terms of internet access, or in terms of going to a computer lab where you can access technology and learn, expand your knowledge, decide, what areas could you possibly earn an income from to try and get back on track. This is unprecedented at this scale, even greater than the 1918 flu pandemic, because it's affected so many industries worldwide. We've seen the layoffs yesterday at Disney World, the pending layoffs at the airlines, and other things that are going on. So there's a very great need for information that is not politicized, related to all aspects of the pandemic, whether it's in the health category, whether it's in the political category or the economic category. And the debate of the other day is just a reflection of where the country's at because of the behavior and activities of one party versus the other. And speaking from a neutral position, because I don't subscribe to be a member of the left or the right. I'm more of a centrist and more of a, how could I put it, neutral realist in assessing both sides. And it degenerated exactly to the level that I expected it to. And the thing that could have sort of diverted some of that would be giving the moderator control of the mics. I advocated that going back to the Bush-Gore debates, where if one candidate is trying to dominate or override time limits and things like that, cut his mic and the moderator steps in and then brings back control. Because you've got a participant, and we all know who it is, who doesn't care about all those things and will just try to further his own interest, his own agenda. And because I think of mental health conditions, he doesn't have the ability to moderate any of those actions or activities. So it's a reflection of the divide in America. And what it's done over the term of that time in office is it has emboldened bullies. It has emboldened the right wing organizations. And it's created more chaos in the streets, You've got people infiltrating what I said before was the pure human reaction to the death of George Floyd. Now it's all been contaminated. And now we're seeing cities that are degenerating into chaos. You've got other issues such as homelessness, which has become as much a pandemic, if you want to call it that, especially in Los Angeles and San Francisco and other cities, because it has not been addressed forcefully by politicians. In California, Governor Newsom is trying to do something about that. And there's other fallout during the pandemic from an economic standpoint, people facing credit card debt, people facing not being able to pay rent, keeping a roof over their heads, but also for landlords who are paying mortgages to provide those areas where they can provide accommodation for people. Things like in the technology sector, people who may have small mom and pop operations and they've got a domain name or two, that's related to their business. And if their business has tanked, how can they afford to keep their domain registered? So part of it should have been, we're pressing pause on certain things, but we should have pressed pause on everything and then figure out how to mobilize, a flow of funds, whether through a combination of the government, large companies that have huge, I want to call sort of quote unquote endowments, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Apple, who should be contributing into the social arena because of the massive tax breaks they've been afforded over the years. Now is the time to step forward and contribute back your social responsibility because of how much wealth you have accrued, because you've been given special exemptions by the government itself. So it needs somebody in position, in power, to direct that. We need a leader who steps forward and says, okay, we're facing a global pandemic. Here's what we're going to do. In this sector, da 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 da. In that sector, da 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 da. And go down the list in terms of what's been formulated by a group think tank, other contributions from the general public and so on, from a non-political standpoint, so that all of it is not being couched in politics and towards the special interests of a president who is desperate to stay in power because he's gotten a few stark reminders that people don't like him and don't want him in office, whether it's being booed at a baseball game or being booed when Ruth Bader Ginsburg is lying in repose outside on the front steps of the Supreme Court. So these meetings can be a microcosm of that in terms of people at the local community level who can come together and say, all right, we're hurting in this area, we're hurting in that area, we're trying to do this, what are you trying to do over in your neighborhood? Or what are you trying to do, on the employment side of things in terms of companies that are providing jobs within the community and so on and so forth. So that's where you take all of that and you start to formulate solutions and potential initiatives within the nonprofit that can then address those things at a manageable level within the community. Whether they work beyond that, who knows? But if that's the priority in terms of wanting to bring and help or enhance survivability within the community, then that's what these can be a forum for.
I believe that there's a underlined bottom line to this, and I believe that there is going to be a global reset on all levels, which is,
well, it's not just one massive global reset. Resets are happening at different levels, in different sectors, at different times, based on where things are at. So that's a constant evolution of monitoring, assessing, and then reacting.
well, just as you're saying, the resets are happening on different levels. One of the things that I would really honestly have to say from a founding standpoint is to just assume the overall corporate entities that are in the position that they're in are going to contribute to a massive change, I don't have that expectation. I don't, and the reason why I say that is on a personal level, I don't have that inclination to massively change or make adjustments based off of uh, everyone's non-contribution to this particular entity of no missed opportunities. Having
Put that into
had,
plain English then.
what's that?
Put that into plain English. What do you mean by that? Define that.
The definition of that is generally at this point, as a corporate owner myself, I don't look forward to solutions for others non-contributors. So I don't believe other corporate owners are going to look for solutions for people that are non-contributing to the production of their safety. The reset that I'm speaking of do not afford us the luxury to assume the Zoom meetings will exist. It will be that Zoom will be taking full advantage of the people that are utilizing that. And then if it ever got down to a survival tactic, they're going to look for the people that are financially contributing to their safety versus the people that are not. We've seen that currently in the Zoom stocks going up. The companies that are
Well, there are
very
other
large, like
platforms
you said,
available to hold virtual meetings.
correct. But that's again, those are large corporations that are trying to make those available for their own financial gain. So what I mean about a reset, it gives us the opportunity, which is why last week's meeting was relative to uh, you know app development or technology development, period, because this pandemic is going to open up opportunities that do not exist. They do not exist from a week from now, a month from now. There are going to be things that are going to be created. So unless you are a creator of sorts of solutions, I do not believe that people are going to survive. That is what I believe the ultimate bottom line is in regards to this being a global pandemic. I personally um, would go so far as to say that it is um, a country's bioweapon towards um, a global change. So with things like that, there's a historical factor in the fact that bioweapons have been used in the past. So there is a person that is using that to their advantage. They understand the results of that, and the results of that are going to be uh, casualties, and there's going to be collateral damage that they have taken into consideration prior to having released that. So there's also a strategic demographic that's targeted behind, um, and for us not to discuss these types of facts in the open within our own organization, I believe would be a fault. So I'm looking into moving forward with addressing those issues head on. I'm trying to limit our resources to the contributors and make available the information to people that are interested in contributing. Uh, I can't have an expectation that, our current government strategy is including small businesses, which is that is what we are, regardless of what the available um, financial assistance is. Again, those are going to be people that are contributing to our financial gain, and then it becomes, almost an survival tactics. And if anyone is uh, unaware of or unwilling to put themselves in a survival mode prior to having to be in a survival mode, they are lacking, and I do not believe that they will be a fit for what we are currently dealing with. So, you know, these meetings, again, I've sent the email out. There's a response to the people that open it from a technical standpoint and an analytical standpoint. I can see who opened it. I can address those individuals, but I cannot make available uh, our resources to people that are unwilling to contribute. So, you know, I appreciate your contribution to this meeting, and we have these on a weekly basis at Thursday at 12. And we make this video available for people to, uh, you know, research what we're discussing so that way they can contribute. But moving forward, I'm looking into developing a strategy that is, you know, internally based. We've discussed that before. A lot of this information, um, it needs to contribute it needs to benefit the contributors. So I'm not going to I'm not going to have this meeting go over this week. We can have this conversation as we've had, um, that has other um, proprietary information, you know, without it being publicized. But again, I wanted to uh, make the form available. I appreciate you being able to contribute some extremely valuable and very reasonable solutions um, this week. And moving forward, we're just going to have to develop a strategy that is focused more on our existing entities' survival. Again, I listed the meeting as a here and now, and that's where we are. There are going to be a lot of changes from now until next week. So hopefully, you know, if someone watched this video, if you are watching this video, then, you know, make sure that you visit our No Missed Opportunities Facebook page, contribute and donate to nomissedopportunities.com. And if you have a contribution of either volunteer work or informational value, you can always reach out at NMOinfo@gmail.com. And hopefully you'll tune in to our weekly business networking meeting next week at Thursday at 12 o'clock. Is there anything else that you would have to add this week, JB?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, I want to hopefully, if you're watching this, you are, you know, staying safe and staying healthy, and look forward to having you be a part of what we're doing moving forward at No Missed Opportunities. You know, you all have a great day.